Morning. Welcome back to the Bill. My name's Bill, Pirate Solutions Woodworking, and getting ready to do some milling today. Got a customer order for some black locust sill plates for a structure that he's putting up for ground contact. And I am going to do some lunch, so I'm out getting ready right now. And I figure I'd just do some filming, maybe talk a little bit about the sawmill business as a whole. Um, Been seeing a lot of posts lately about people talking about, how can I drum up business? I got a new sawmill and nobody wants anything. And this, how are you getting your business? And this, that, and the other thing. And to be honest with you, I think that we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown um, in spending. Uh, I think a year ago, year and a half ago, felt like you couldn't do enough, and now all of a sudden things I think are starting to slow down just a little bit, which kind of makes it in my particular business model here, kind of makes my business model kind of attractive from a bunch of different standpoints. Because I'm small and a one-man show and I fix all my stuff, and I don't really pay for my logs and tree guys drop them off. It makes it so that I don't face the same, and I own all my own equipment. I don't have any notes or anything like that. It kind of makes it so it's easy for me to absorb this, because if I don't cut today, I don't really care. Typical example is my 272 right here. Been fighting with this saw. This is one of my babies. It's actually a converted 268 to a 272. And I started out, I don't know, 15 years ago with two of these 268s, and they're really production monsters, but it's been a lot of work keeping them running. I do that all myself. The two saws that I started with didn't cost me anything. They were throwaways from a tree guy who, one of them he had robbed parts off of and was perfectly fine, and the other one had some broken things that needed to be fixed, and I fixed both of them up. I used to call them the twins, and they've served me for years, years, and years. Matter of fact, one of my 268s is out on loan to a friend of mine, and this one has just been a workhorse. However, I had recoil problems with this one. I had broken the drum, and then I started putting aftermarket ones on it. They didn't work very good, and so I've been fighting back and forth with it for quite a while now. And I just picked up an OEM aftermarket one. It's kind of nice because it has the 272 on here. So we're going to try this buck and this locust. Recoil seems like it functions properly. I think this recoil was 30 bucks used, which is a great price, and it's better than any of the aftermarket ones I can get. So it kind of leads us down that road of, what do I have to do? Where should my prices be? All that, those questions, as I'm getting ready to set the mill up here and everything. And there's really no good answers to that, because it's very individual. I've already seen a move in some of the bigger mills in my area. They started changing their pricing. The way that I price my stuff is by the board foot when I'm cutting my logs, and I charge by the hour if I'm cutting customer logs. So I kind of separate my lumber prices down into a couple of different categories. So let's just say SPF, so pine, spruce, and fir. and I'm selling all that for $1 a board foot. Doesn't matter whether it's slabs or whether it's um, 1 buys or 3/4 or whatever. The only thing that I do is once I go under 1 inch, I charge it an inch. So if somebody wants 5/8 boards cut, they get charged like they're inch thick. I don't go under inch. I don't upcharge for cutting slabs. It's no harder. It's easier for me. I can slab a log in 5 or 6 cuts and then sell it at $1 a board foot. I have a customer that buys all my, when I get bigger pine logs in, I slab them out, buys all my pine slabs at $1 a board foot. So when I cut out a log, if it's say like 6 or 7 slabs, he likes them around 2.5 inches thick. I throw them in the back of my pickup truck. I charge him $50 to drive him to his place. And a typical load like that is, say, $350 ish for a good sized log. 350, 320, right in that range. And that takes me, maybe 30 minutes of milling, maybe 40 minutes of milling if I don't have to trim the log down a lot. And so it'd be like 320, $350 plus $50 to drop it off, and he pays me right away. So it gives you an idea of, at $1 a board foot, what you could turn in an hour. Now, if you got a lot of little cuts to make, it's a total different story. If you guys watched the channel yesterday, or a couple days ago, the guy came and picked him up yesterday. I was cutting oak decking, so that was 35 boards. I think I gave him 40, charged him for 35, and they were red oak. And red oak is kind of my middle of the line wood, and I charged $3 a board foot for that. So his particular boards they're 4 board feet a piece, so it was $12 a board. I charged him for 35 of them, $420. It took me an hour to cut it. And then he picked them up. I didn't have to deliver them or anything. And I did that on video, so you can see the video. Even videoing it, it took me an hour and 15 minutes to cut the whole log on video. And I edged off all the other flitch cuts and stuff afterwards to fill out his order. But without videoing, it's an hour job. Now, I'm not saying that with a mill like this that you're looking at $300 or $400 an hour. That's not what I'm saying at all, because you have a lot of hours of nothing, unless you're super busy. But if you're working by yourself, you can't cut at a production rate with a manual mill by yourself to be able to fill your time. The money that you bring in is only based on your sales. That's a lesson I learned a long time ago. You cut all day, you're negative. You're not positive. So if you cut all day and you didn't sell anything, let's say it's not for a customer. That's not a I made. That's a I lost. You're in the negative in that respect. That's cost you money to mill that day. You have made nothing. You make nothing till that customer comes and hands you that money and takes that wood. That was a lesson I learned a long time ago at Tracy Road Equipment when they had given me a pretty good position at a young age. I was kind of like a heavy equipment savant at 19. And they moved me up into management at a very young age after we lost our construction equipment business. And I remember when he came by me one time in my office. I'm like the only person that hadn't been there for 20 years that had an office. He said, "Prophet, how'd you do today?" And I said, "Well, I sold a truck today." And he said, "Good." He said, "Did you get paid for it?" I said, "No, but he's coming in on Wednesday." And he said, "Well, let me tell you something. Until that check's in this place, you didn't sell shit." And it's a very true thing. You can stock lumber up the yin yang around your mill. You can cut all day, and cut whatever you want, until the customer comes, buys that stuff, and gives you money. You haven't sold shit. So you're negative when you're regular cutting. And I'm trying right now because I've got to do a lot of building and reorganizing around the sawmill right now, not to cut stock. Everything that I have lying around is really offcuts from cutting customer orders. So I'm trying to just strictly cut customer orders right now. And those customer orders, the amount of money that you make on those orders is all based on what they're buying. I had the illusion that I was just going to cut pine, but that's just not the case. I make all my money on hardwood now. And I sell a fair amount of it. Um, and the amount per hour on doing stuff like that is really good. But your business model is totally going to be up to you. If you're paying for log loads, you're already starting off in the negative. You need, if you can work a deal with the tree guys and say, hey, look, if you're throwing out this stuff, which is what they're doing, they take a tree down, they chip all the slash and branches, and they cut it up into logs and they go dump it in the landfill. And they have to pay to do that. So by me telling them, hey, look, you can bring them to me in 20 footers. Just dump them in the yard. I don't need you to move them around. I don't, need you to put them anywhere special. Just come dump them in the yard. And they're more than happy to do that for nothing. That gets them out of there. They don't have to buck the logs up. They don't have to throw them out. They don't have to pay to throw them out. It makes it really simple for them. So they love that. Every log that I have here on site, every species, elm, walnut, black locust, black oak, red oak, white oak, maple, pine, spruce, birch, hemlock, every log that I have here on site, poplar, I don't have a dime in. And I think that's an important thing. You do your work to try to get that to happen to you too, because that takes a lot of pressure off you, believe me, when you're paying for stuff and how much you got to cut and sell. Because today, if I don't sell anything, I don't really super care. Um, I'm setting up the sawmill, but I think it'd probably be a little bit more exciting if you guys watch me buck this log, just because somebody's going to want to see a saw run. So we're going to fire up the 272 and we're going to buck this log down to 12'6". He wants 12-foot boards. And just to show you what I'm thinking, they need to be 3x6 bench here. I need 5 3x6s at 12 feet long-ish for his sill plates. I'm going to cut them at 12'6". And there is kind of a little rot spot inclusion in the butt of this log here. And this log tapers off kind of right there, just past 12 foot. So let's say 12 foot's here. It's still pretty big to here, and then it kind of tapers off at the end, and then there's some weird little hunky spot in the center right here. And you see that sometimes in locust. So the more I can take it back, the better chance that the bigger part of the log is going to be sound, and I can get my boards out of this. So this is a typical example of a job that's going to be a decent pay job for the time that I'm going to have into it. If I can mill this log out into 3x6s in, say, let's hope I can get the 5 of them out of it. But if I can do that in 30, 40 minutes at $3 a board foot, that's going to be a significant order. Now in locust, I could go more on it, but I'm trying to be fair in my area. I want people to come to me. So the way that I price is I'm $1 a board foot on SPF, pine, spruce, fir, black locust, red oak, elm. I'm $3 a board foot. Let's just call them hardwoods, middle of the road hardwoods. And then I go into exotics, and in exotics I'm either 4 or 5. So walnut I'm 5, white oak I'm 4. And it's more than fair. So it makes it so people are constantly contacting me about wanting stuff. Now, not everybody buys something, but they're constantly contacting me because my prices are fair. And when I do cut those hardwoods and the exotics, the payoff's pretty good. I only, need to do 3 or 4 orders a week, if that, to make a couple of $1,000s. So, and it's not going to be like that every week. Some weeks are great. Yesterday was a great day. Today's going to be a good day. This is going to end up being, without calculating that out. So let's see if I can do it in my head. It's going to be 12 board feet for 2 inches thick, plus another inch is another 6. So they're going to be 18 board feet per sill plate times 5 is 90 board feet total, times 3 is going to be $270. So just an example. So if this takes me 40 minutes to mill, it's $270. When customers bring in their own logs, I charge them $100 an hour to mill them. And I really don't particularly like doing that because you get all kinds of crazy, curvy crap. I kind of want to be selective when they want to bring their own stuff here. Good examples. Yesterday, a local artist brought in some small cherry logs and a cherry burl, asked me to cut them up for him. And it took me about 20 minutes. You run into all kinds of holding problems because they were all really super small and curvy, and they didn't bridge the bunk, so I had to set boards on and all this stuff. But it was 20 minutes, cut them up the way she wanted, so she didn't have to sit there with her grinder on them. And it's $60 for 20 minutes. Later, a customer came and bought a bunch of white oak for a project she's doing, and that's another $200. So it is a little bit feast or famine, but I think the key, at least in keeping my business model very viable, is to keep my costs way down. Fix everything myself, sharpen my own bands, fix my own chainsaws, logs are free, own all my own equipment. That keeps my costs down low. Now, what are costs in doing something like this? Well, I'll throw $50 in diesel fuel in the Bobcat every 3 weeks. I got to buy cans of brake clean at $8 a can to clean things up on the mill. Put fuel in the mill, but that lasts quite a while when you fill that tank. Parts that break on the mill, those are costs, but they break few and far between. If it was breaking all the time, I wouldn't have this mill. So I'll put you on pause. We'll get the 372 started, or I can fire it up on camera here. I'll pause you guys a second, get it warming up, and we'll make these cuts. And then I will shoot a video when I come back from lunch, milling this log up, and we'll see how long it takes and what we get out of it, what's in the middle, and so on and so forth. So no nonsense type of stuff. So let me get this thing fired up and get you a good view. We'll cut this thing up. And then I still got to set the mill up, put a band on, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and pause you. All right, so we'll cut this thing off. First cut, I'm just going to take this butt end off here. And then we'll measure it out, cut it at 12'6". get you a view down the other end here. See how that end of that log looks now. So it looks like there's still a little teeny little inclusion in there. Didn't totally clean up. The wood's really nice, really solid. Stuck them in the log leg so I can split them. More solid now. All right, so what have we learned about this log? There's a little bit of a funky spot in the end here. I'm going to hope that doesn't go very far. I don't know if you can see that. There is a lot of tension in the log too. You see that big split? That big split happened while I was cutting it, 2 cuts in a row. Went pop when I was cutting. We're going to hope that doesn't go too far. These are just sill plates for the ground for him to put a prefab structure on top of. Difference between that and real good solid block locust looks like that. So at this point, this could be one of those cost items. You know, there's a possibility right now that I could mill this log for nothing. I have a woodworking customer who wants 300 board feet from me of black locust to try in his woodworking. This log probably could be a candidate in shorter lengths, but we won't know till we open it up. We're going to try to get these sill plates out of it because they're less important than the wood that I bring to Josco, my woodworking friend. Is got to be better wood. This would be nice for Josco, maybe at 8 feet long, cutting them 2 inches thick, which would take me 15 minutes on this log. Just slab it out, and he takes it. He can break it down from there. But we're going to find out this afternoon when I get back from lunch how viable this log is. Now, if this is worth it is going to be up to you. How much you need to make is going to be a big time determining factor. If you're going to leave a job where you make $1,000 a week and think that you're going to get a sawmill and you're going to pay for it, hopefully you're not going to finance it. And if you do have to finance it, that's another issue. If you think that you're just going to leave $1,000 a week job where every single Friday you get that paycheck and you're going to get a sawmill and you're going to make a ton more money, can you? Yes. There are sawmills out there that make a ton of money. If you can do it by yourself, and you have some sort of customer base or a niche, you need a niche and access to logs, you can make yourself, a decent chunk of change. Is it going to be $1,000 a week every week? Probably not in the beginning. Maybe the first week you'll have an order all lined up and you'll cut it. Maybe you'll have 2 or 3 orders lined up. Oh, so and so wants a shed, and so needs a deck, and so wants some timber frame timbers. And you'll cut those out. And then when you have to start going out and selling stuff, that's when you're going to find out that it's not all unicorns and rainbows. It becomes a job. Can you make more than $1,000 a week? Sure, you can make more than $1,000 a day, um, and it's going to be hard work for you. And you have to balance that with what you can't do. If you can't load logs on the mill and move logs around your yard, there's no way you're going to work in that upper range. So you have to have a machine. Um, some people might say, "Oh, bullshit! I moved them around my truck for years and made a good living." Maybe so. You can make a little bit here and there, but no way you can do production to do big money. Now, if you have a niche, let's say you have access to a whole shit pile of walnut, big walnut, and all you're going to do is cut and sell walnut slabs, undried, green. Um, if you can manage some sort of weird system to get them on the mill, you can make some money like that, no doubt. But you have to have that niche. Once that niche runs out, when you've got to do production, if you don't have a machine, you're just not going to be able to do it. So you have to factor a machine in, the cost of a machine. If you have great credit and you finance everything, you've got to look at that monthly bill first. In other words, you're negative until you break that monthly nut, and then you don't go positive until after you break it. So if your payments are 500 a month, until you've passed that 500, you made nothing. And if you do it right, that's one afternoon, one order. You do your 500, then the rest of the month is gravy. But you need a machine if you want to make decent money. Now, a lot of people, you don't need to make money, right? You're looking at this like, I've got a cabin I want to build, and I'm going to use it to build my cabin, and then my neighbors might need something, and I'll pitch in and sell some stuff to the neighbors. And some people around town will hear about it, and they'll come to you for things. And if that's your motivation, that's fine. You're not the people I'm talking to. I'm talking to the people that say, I want to quit my $1,000 or $2,000 a week job to buy a sawmill. Um, and kind of like I did, I stopped working out in the field, um, where it's, $600-700 a day to have a forestry business and work out of my house. Um, I'm a bad example because I don't need the money. Somebody who needs the money, if you count on, you get a big house and a big mortgage and big payments on your vehicles and everything else, and you count on that $2,000 a week, if you are going to make this leap, um, it is going to be hard on you. No two ways about it. You have these illusions of grandeur that you're going to quit your job and you're going to you're going to become a millionaire milling wood on a manual mill. Even if you have an automatic mill, it's probably not realistic in the beginning. Now, as you go forward, if you can weather the storm and you get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years into it and you've got a good customer base and everybody in your area comes to you for everything, totally different story. But in the beginning, it's going to be hard. You got to factor that in, and you have to take that into consideration in your decision. You're probably better off keeping your $2,000 a week job and milling in your off time in the beginning until your production increases to the point, the money coming in increases to the point where it makes it so you can quit that $2,000 a week job. It's actually holding you back. You don't have enough time because of it to make money that you're basically putting people on a wait list. You end up in that would probably be a better way to go. So semi quick little video this morning. Say hi, and I'm gonna go eat some lunch. We'll come back. We're gonna throw that on the mill. We'll throw on a band, grease everything up, put some water in the BIH, and let this log have it, see if we can go through it a smart way. And just looking at the log on this end, it's fairly symmetrical. It doesn't really have much taper in it at all. If this log is sound, I have no problem getting those 5 3x6s out of this. If I cut it smart, no problem. I'm going to get some off the sides. Top flitch, the bottom looks like it might be wasted. A couple out of the middle, maybe 3 down, 1 off each side. Looks like I can get the lumber if it's sound. I could mill the entire afternoon for nothing. None of these could be good. And if they aren't, then I'll keep this for my lumber. I've got a lot of building to do, and I can use the hell out of black locust. It's my favorite wood to build with outside. And worst case scenario, I could use them as ground bunks. Just put logs on and boards on. So I would probably keep them for doing maybe sill plates in some of my own structures or something. But just food for thought. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, please reach out. How do I do this? What do you think about that? If you want to bounce some things off me and I can give you my opinion, then I will answer everyone back and do everything I can do to help. One thing that I think the most important thing, if you take a lesson from my business model, is you have to keep your costs down. However it is, you can do that. So the wife is walking around. No, doesn't look like she's going to come back here. She's dumping compost. You need a machine. Go get a used one. You need a mill that's going to do what you want to do. Plan on twice what you think it's going to cost. So if you think you're going to get a mill for $3,000, and just factor in 6, it's just going to work that way. By the time you buy blades and PVs and things for the mill and you get it set up somewhere, just plan on 6. If you think that a $3,000 mill is going to grow with you, it's not. You're going to have to get something that's going to grow with you, like my HD36. This summer, my plan is to put full hydraulics on it, full automation. It will do more than I can give it. So hopefully my 2 cents helps, and hopefully help you make a decision. And if you have any questions about mills or purchases or the business or anything like that, please reach out. If you haven't watched my channel, look through the channel, because I don't think that this video can give a scope to the amount of logs that I have here and the variety and species and so on and so forth. If you have any question on pricing or anything, I'll do my best to help you. It's kind of area specific. You can sell lumber in Manhattan a lot more expensive than you can sell it in Hazard, Tennessee. So hope you guys all have a great day. Be safe out there. And I'm going to go grab me some lunch and come back and cut me some wood. So hope you have a great day. I'll see you a little bit later. Pirate Solutions out.